Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Betwabu, betwabu, betwabu. Alright, y'all. Yes, too bad. Yes, I can help you. Okay, give me that. Alright, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, February the 19th, 2020. Day 76. And we are in Judges 16, 17, and 18. Let's get started straight away, y'all. Because I got some work that I need to get done first thing this morning. It's due by 12 p.m. Betwabu, y'all. Betwabu. Okay, y'all. Judges 16, 17, and 18. Let's get started, shall we? Linda, top of the day. All right, y'all. Judges chapter 16. Then went Samson to Gaza and saw there was a harlot and went in unto her. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city and 2 posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of a hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and said unto her, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. Thank you, Tiffany. Betwabu, Trina, Betwabu. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And Samson said unto her, if they bind me with 7 green withs that were never dried, then I shall be weak, and be as another man. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green withs, which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he brake the withs as a thread of tow is broken when it touches the fire, so his strength was not known. Now see, that would be the first time, man. I would have been out, be like, you know what? See, I gotta go. But Samson, he thought it was a game. He wanted to play around with this girl. And Delilah said unto him, Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me, and hast told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that were never occupied, then shall I be weak, and be as another man. Delilah therefore took new ropes, and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. I'm like, this woman clearly does not have your best interest at hand. It's the second time. Like, if you didn't leave the first time, it's like you Samson, you got something going on with you, bro. And he clearly thought this was a game. Delilah therefore took, I'm going to read it again. Therefore Delilah took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were leers in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web. And she fastened it with a pin, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awaked out of his sleep, and went with the pin of the beam, and with the web. And she said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and thou hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. Like, how could you lay down and go back to sleep? After the first time, I would have been sleeping with one eye open. Matter of fact, if it was me, I would have left. Second time, clearly, you just lay back down like, and did you watch the guys leave out of the bed chamber and say they were there with her? They could have been right outside the door, but they were there. Clearly, you had to have known that. And then the third time, how can you say you love me? You tell me, like, heifer, why are you trying to find out the source of my strength? Like, you didn't ask these questions. Maybe he didn't care because he didn't think his day of reckoning would come. I tell you some, I ain't gonna just say men, but men and women, they got this thing about them where they think that whatever you want to call it, karma is not going to catch up with them, or their foolishness. They think they got a monopoly on the system, or they think that, oh, Yah blesses me, his strength is always with me, nothing can happen to me. Now we're making constant ignorant, foolish decisions on purpose. Clearly you got to know that time, that grace is going to run out sooner or later, right? I mean, you can't continue to, I don't know why. I just read again. And she said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and thou hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, yes, baby.
That's my candy.
Hey, I told you to stay right here. You want to go up there shaking the candy and stuff. I told you Daddy was going to take it from you.
No, that's my candy.
I know it's your candy. That's why I told you to stay right here with it. You could have kept it a little bit longer.
No, that's my candy.
I know it's your candy. Now we got to wait a little bit later to that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, there hath not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto Yahuwah from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he hath showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought her money in her hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself. And he wist not that Yahuwah was departed from him. His day came. But the Philistines took him, and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. And the lords of the Philistines gathered them together for to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon their god, and to rejoice. For they said, Our God hath delivered Samson our enemy into our hand. And when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, Our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, Call for Samson, that he may make us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, Suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. And Samson called unto Yahuwah, and said, O Yahuwah, God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, O Yahuwah, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars which the house stood, and on which was borne up, and of one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. And Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him, and brought him up, and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol, in the burying place of Manoah his father. And he judged Israel 20 years. Judges chapter 17. And there was a man of Mount Ephraim, whose name was Micah. And he said unto his mother, The 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from thee, about which thou cursed, and speakest of also in my ears, behold, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, Blessed be thou of Yahuwah my son. And when he had restored the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother said, I had wholly dedicated the silver unto Yahuwah from my hand for my son. to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto thee. Yet he restored the money unto his mother, and took 200 shekels of silver, and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image of a molten image, and they were in the house of Micah. And the man Micah had a house of gods, and made an ephod and a teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. In those days there was no king in Israel, but every man did that which was right in his own eyes. And there was a young man out of Bethlehem, Judah, of the family of Judah, who was a Levite, and he sojourned there. And the man departed out of the city from Bethlehem, Judah, to sojourn where he could find a place. And he came to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah, as he journeyed. And Micah said unto him, Whence thou comest? And he said unto him, I am a Levite of Bethlehem, Judah, and I go down to sojourn where I may find a place. And Micah said unto him, Dwell with me, and be unto me a father and a priest, and I will give thee 10 shekels of silver by the year, and a suit of apparel, and thy victuals. So the Levite went in, and the Levite was content to dwell with the man. The young man was unto him as one of his sons. And Micah consecrated the Levite, and the young man became his priest. And he was in the house of Micah. Then said Micah, Now I know that Yahuwah will do me good, seeing I have a Levite unto my priest. Have a Levite to my priest. Last chapter for today, Judges chapter 18. In those days there was no king in Israel, and in those days the tribe of the Danites sought them an inheritance to dwell in, for unto that day all their inheritance had not fallen unto them among the tribes of Israel. And the children of Dan sent of their family 5 men from their coast, men of valor, from Zorah, from Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to search it. And they said unto them, Go, search the land. When they came to Mount Ephraim, to the house of Micah, they lodged there. When they were by the house of Micah, they knew the voice of the young man, the Levite, and they turned in thither, and said unto him, Who brought thee thither? Who brought thee hither? And what makest thou in this place? And what hast thou here? And he said unto them, Thus and thus dealeth Micah with me, and he hath hired me, and I am his priest. And they said unto him, Ask counsel, we pray thee, of Yahuwah, that we may know whether our way which we shall go shall be prosperous. And the priest said unto them, Go in peace, before Yahuwah is your way wherein ye go. Then the 5 men departed and came to Laish, and saw the people that were therein, how they dwelt careless after the manner of the Zidonians, quiet and secure, and there was no magistrate in the land that might put them to shame in anything, and they were far from the Zidonians, and had no business with any man. And they came unto their brethren to Zorah and Eshtaol, and their brethren, and said unto them, What say ye? And they said, Arise, that we may go up against them, and we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. Are ye still? Be not slothful to go and enter in to possess the land. And when ye go, ye shall come into a people secure, into a large land, for Yahuwah hath given it into your hands, a place where there is no want of anything that is in the earth. And there went from thence of the family of the Danites, out of Zorah and out of Eshtaol, 600 men appointed with weapons of war, and they came up and pitched in Kirjath-Jearim in Judah, wherefore they called the place Mahanadan unto this day. Behold, it is behind Kirjath-Jearim. And they passed thence unto Mount Ephraim, and came unto the house of Micah. And then answered the 5 men that went out to spy the country of Laish, and said unto their brethren, Do ye know that there is in these houses an ephod and a teraphim, and a graven image and a molten image? Now therefore consider what ye have to do. And they turned thitherward, and came to the house of the young man the Levite, even unto the house of Micah, and saluted him. And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which were the children of Dan, stood by the entering of the gate. And the 5 men that went out to spy the land went up.
Can you come back to put the controls down? I'm trying to play something.
Go put the controls down, Bella.
But that's mine.
Hey, you know what? You could just cut it off right now. Cut it off. Cut it off. Hey, cut it off. Cut it off. And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which were the children of Dan, stood by the entering of the gate. And the 5 men that went to spy out the land went up and came in thither, and took up the graven image, and the ephod, and the teraphim, and the molten image. And the priest stood in the entering of the gate with his 600 men that were appointed with weapons of war. And these went into Micah's house, and fetched the carved image, the ephod, and the teraphim, and the molten image. Then said the priest unto them, What do ye? And they said unto him, Hold thy peace. Lay thy hand upon thy mouth, and go with us, and be to us a father and a priest. It is better for thee to be a priest unto the house of one man, or that thou be a priest unto the tribe of a family in Israel. And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod and the teraphim and the graven image, and went into the midst of the people. So they turned and departed, and put the little ones and the cattle and the carriage before them. And when they were a good way away from the house of Micah, the men that were in the house near to Micah's house were gathered together, and overtook the children of Dan. And they cried unto the children of Dan, and they turned their faces, and said unto Micah, What aileth thee that thou comest with such a company? And he said, Ye have taken away my gods which I have made, and the priests, and ye are gone away. And what have I more? And what is this that ye say unto me? What aileth thee? And the children of Dan said unto him, Let not thy voice be heard among us, lest angry fellows run upon thee, and thou lose thy life with the lives of thy household. And the children of Dan went their way. And when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned away and went back to his house. And they took the things of Micah, and they took the things which Micah had made, and the priests which he had, and came unto Laish, unto a people that were quiet and secure. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and burnt the city with fire. And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Zion, and they had no business with any man. And it was done in the valley that lieth by Beth Rehob. And they built a city and dwelt therein. And they called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan their father, who was born in Israel. Howbeit the name of the city was Laish at the first. And the children of Dan set up a graven image. And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests to the tribe of Dan until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set them up, Micah's graven images which he had made, all the time that the house of Yahuwah was in Shiloh. And that, my beautiful people, is our reading for today. That was Judges 16, 17, and 18. So we're going to go ahead and get right to the blessing, which is found in where? Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Quick recap. It is a Wednesday, February the 19th, 2020, day 76 of year 2 of reading through the book of instruction and the prophets. All right. May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace, his wholeness, his blessing, and all that concerns us. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I will see you in the morning. Peace.